Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be my out-of-box review for the Premium Bandai Master Grade Jesta Cannon, and I guess sort of counts as a review of the Master Grade Jesta as well, which I actually will be getting that kit pretty soon, and I might do a separate review of that. I don't know if you guys want to see a separate review. I think there might be some worth doing a separate review for the regular Jesta, just because it's kind of a different overall product, even though the main kit is basically the same. But anyway, today we're just going to focus on the Jesta Cannon here, and especially focusing on what's different about this kit, because if you're going to be getting this kit, with it being a premium Bandai item, you're going to be paying more for it, most likely. And so you want to know about, okay, what makes this kit special compared to the regular Jesta, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So the first thing that makes it special is, boy, is this kit big. When I was building up this kit, I guess when you think about something which is technically like a grunt suit, you don't really think about it being such like a big and massive, bulky mobile suit, where something like this was just kind of like very surprising to see how it came together to be quite large. So very fun build too overall. I can see why a lot of people really love the Master Grade Jesta now, just because it is a really super solid kit, I think, as you'll see over the course of this review. And with the addition of the new parts on it, it's definitely heavier, and I'm not sure if that's going to be an issue, but we'll find out. But if in case you guys are short for time or attention and you can't sit through the whole review, I can just sum it up for you by saying it's a really awesome kit. If you really want this, then I would say just pull the trigger and get one. But let's take a closer look. Okay, so first a quick rundown of everything that you're going to be getting in the box with this kit. First thing, and one of the most important things, is a set of waterslide decals. Thank you to Bandai for that. Always nice to see this. It's unfortunate that these usually only come with Bandai kits, but hey, there you go. Some nice numbers on there. Markings there for the Lundo Bell markings, Anaheim Electronics, EFSF, and more. And then we've got its main weapon, which is very awesome. The Jesta Cannon beam rifle. I love the overall design and look and bulk of this rifle. The bulk matches the bulk of the mobile suit itself. A little sticker there for the orange camera, just a small little thing. And it doesn't really do much. It doesn't move anything. This part on the back does open up like that, which makes for a cool look as well. Just something to like add to this very mechanical look of that. I like how the magazine here is asymmetrical. It sticks out more to one side. It just all sort of looks more like a realistic, sort of like modern day weapon in a way. It does have the little tab in the handle, which will fold out and plug into the hand. And yeah, very cool. You also have a beam saber here, which is meant to be plugged into the back of the arm, but because it has this new armor part there on the arm, it's covering that up, so they don't have you install the handle into the arm, because you can't really get to it without taking those parts off, so they just have you just build it as a separate thing, so you can just have this here. You do also have a second beam saber effect part, but you don't have any use for it, so just keep this as an extra and use it for a different kit that doesn't come with one. And finally, we just have our action-based connector, and that's kind of it for like the actual accessories for the Jesta Cannon. But like I said, we do have a lot of extra parts, including the full Jesta shield, and it actually shows you how to build this in the manual. And you have the option to make it just like the regular Jesta backpack if you want. You have all the parts to make that, and it shows you how to make it in the manual. So if you wanted to just make it without the cannon parts on top of the backpack and just the regular Jesta backpack, including this shield and this cool articulated arm, for that and all of that, which is very cool, and a little handle here. You can do that, or just use this for some kit bash or something, and you've got a really cool arm with a shield there on it. And there's a whole bunch of leftover armor parts, actually. Some of the parts that are replaced from the Jesta to the Jesta Cannon, like the shoulder armor, for example, some of the parts are just in the wrong color, so they're just molded like twice, and so you just have like some of these parts are the exact same parts, but in different color. One of those, too, one of our extra parts here is also the regular Jesta's beam rifle here, and the only thing you're missing to make this is one polycap. So if you have leftover polycaps, there's a very good chance that you have the polycap that you need to make this, and you even have the little clear part in there for the sight, but that will plug into there once it has the polycap in place, and then you have just the full regular Jesta's beam rifle here as well. If for some reason you wanted to use this, if for some reason you wanted to make the regular beam rifle instead of the Jesta Cannon beam rifle, you can do that, of course, but why would you want to do that? Right, so let's get on talking a little bit about the articulation. So there's a little green sticker there on the camera on the side of the face, but otherwise we have a nice clear orange part there, and for the camera on the top, and then of course for the visor. The head, as you can see, will go up to there before the back of it. The antenna on the back is hitting onto the backpack. And then the head will go only forward to there, so it doesn't have that nice kind of gimmick like, for example, the Gym Sniper 2, or the Gym Sniper Custom has, where the head, like whole neck, will kind of come forward to give you a better bend there. But the other thing that you can do with the head is light it up, so you can actually pull this whole bit off there, and then you can see there's where you can plug in the Bandai LED unit, Moving on, you can also open up the cockpit hatch like that, and there's a seated pilot figure up inside there. It's pretty cool. We've got a nice stomach crunch here, forward and back, side to side, not really too much, and then of course there's some rotation there as well. The cannons on the top will just move up and down here like this. This one has some stickers on it. You can see this kind of light gray on the edges, the corner edges. That's stickers. There's 4 of those on there. This section just plugs onto the top of the backpack there. I'm just going to remove that for the time being. Let's take a look at the shoulders. This shoulder joint will swing forward like so. You can bring that whole arm up to, looks like to about there is going to be the limit of the upward extension of the shoulder. The arm will rotate there at the top, and then a double joint in the elbow gives you a full bend there. Again, up underneath this is where you would store the regular beam saber handle. On the opposite side, we have extra ammunition clips that are stored here. I think it might be a little bit of a task to get these out, but there you go. If you can pop these out, they are individual little ammo clips there, and they're exactly the same as the ones that go in the gun, so you can just do something with that if you need. Front skirts will, of course, move up and down, but this extra armor bit on here I'm finding is kind of like clashing with the middle section there, and so you're not really able to bring that up very high because of this extra bulk on that part there. You'll also notice, if you look really close at my little yellow V part there, it's missing a little chunk out of it. That was when I was just cleaning the nub marks on it, and just like the nub just kind of like broke off that part and took out a little chunk of that part there with it. So that's unfortunate. Probably what I'll end up doing is just going without that part, and then the hole where that plugs in, I'll just putty over that and just make that just flat and just not include that detail on my finished build, but just something to be careful of. The side skirts where we have the grenades stored there will also move up and down, but again, not really all that much. These are also kind of blocked by that part that goes around the middle of the waist there. And the back skirts will also move up and down. Overall, just love the color separation here between the dark blue, the light blue, the gray, and the different versions of gray here, and just all of this. It's all just kind of muted, just gray and navy blue, but there's just a whole bunch of different colors going on within that, so it still manages to look really nice. So you're able to bring the legs out to about there is going to be about the extent of that. You can bring the legs forward. Now I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but the hip joint is actually on this like circular part that can kind of like move around, so you can bring the hip joint a little bit farther forward if you need for different posing, so that should help. But again, the front skirt armor is going to be a little bit getting in the way for this version. I think it'll be less so on the regular Jesta. For the Jesta Cannon, again, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. The knee bend will give you about 90 degrees only, unfortunately. At least that's what they want you to think, but actually there's an extension in here. If you pull the leg, slide that down, that will give you a farther bend to be able to bring the knee all the way back like that. Very, very cool gimmick built in with that frame. That is pretty nice. So when you have the kit standing like this, that knee joint is just like looking too long, so it would be kind of silly, so they just were able to manage to hide that by having that sliding in and out. It makes for a really cool gimmick in the knee articulation. Moving on down the leg here, again, just love the color separation, the angles and everything looks fantastic. This little bit here on the front of the ankle armor there, that will move up and down slightly. The ankles themselves will move out to the side very, very, very nicely. That won't be a problem at all. There is a little bit of an upward toe bend, barely, but there's no toe bending down at all, which is unfortunate. I always hate when they don't do that on master grades, but hey. The ankle will move all the way back to there, so it still manages to work out pretty well. It's just not bending in the actual foot, and as you'll notice, when I bent that back, you see this little bit here on the back of the leg also moved a little bit there. Forward can go all the way to there. It's got a little bit of that like flip-flop action that we normally see in like high-grade gyms, but the ankle armor is overall very, very good. I just wish that there was more bend, downward bend in the foot there. Up underneath the feet, some nice detail there, but it's just all, there's no color separation. There's no like gray bits poking through. It's just all like one piece. So again, with this kit being big and bulky, that also means that it's heavy. It's not like as heavy as like the Sazabi Verka or the O or something like that, some of these really big master grades, but it definitely does have some weight onto it. So putting it up on an action base, just make sure that everything's solid and that you won't have this like tumbling off, falling off or anything. Wouldn't want to spend a whole lot for a master grade P-Bandai kit and then have it fall off your shelf and break in half. That said, though, it does seem pretty solid. I think this could take a tumble and nothing really is going to break on it. Maybe the little antenna there on the top of the head. Otherwise, though, it should be pretty safe. One little point that I skipped over while I was talking about the articulation is the hands. This is using the 2.0 hands where like they're all completely articulated hands. I don't really like those hands at all. They're just kind of harder to clean up all the mold lines on them and nub marks on them, and then to paint them is kind of annoying. And they sometimes pop out, the fingers pop out, and once they pop out, they're just loose forever, and they're never like really tight in there again. You can do different steps to tighten up those again, but I just prefer fixed pose hands, really, to be honest. So, and whatever the case, this has those 2.0 hands, and so like with the beam rifle, this uses just the kind of little tab that plugs into the beam saber handle there as well. So you'll have that. So it holds everything very securely in the hand, but ultimately, I'll probably get some different hands for this kit when it comes time to paint it. Okay, and so let's get into talking about some of the big negatives of this kit. First thing is it's a P-Bandai kit, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get, a little bit more expensive. Next thing, wait a minute. Nope, that's it. Yeah, there's pretty much nothing really negative that you could say about this kit. I mean, it's a really fantastic, solid kit, cool weapons. I mean, it's nothing like, doesn't have like a huge amount of weapons and accessories and everything, but like it's just kind of, it's what you would expect. I mean, it's the Jesta Cannon. That's what it is. It's not like a Gundam that has tons of different weapons and accessories and gimmicks and everything. It's basically a super grunt, and that's what you've got here. So if you're a fan of like grunt master grades, and especially ones that have a little bit more unique aspect to them, a little bit more pizzazz to them, that aren't just like your typical run-of-the-mill gym, then this one definitely is that. So I can see why this, the Jesta in general, and especially the Jesta Cannon, is also are both the really popular designs. There's a lot to love there if you're a big fan of UC mobile suit designs. But finally, there was one more concern that I was having. That was the weight of the gun on the wrist. I was worried if you were going to be able to pose this up while holding the gun and it not just weighing down the wrist and just not looking natural at all. It does, depending on the pose, it can, but it's really not too big of a problem. You can also just two-hand hold that. You can just bring the other arm around, just hold that, and just pose it in different ways. So depending on how you want to pose it, the weight of that could be an issue, but really I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue overall. So that is a sigh of relief, and that means that there's pretty much not really too much anything bad about the kit itself, again, just aside from the availability and the price of it. So if you can get around that, then you'll be very, very happy with this. I just want to say a big thank you again to Samurai Buyer, who sent this to me. Guys, if you do want to check out the link to their site, you can check that out down below. I've got to say that I'm glad that I finally got this kit. I was kind of on the fence of whether I really wanted it for a long time, ever since it came out, and I've really been impressed with it. So it's a really, really cool kit. Definitely check it out if you're interested. So that's it for the review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave any other further questions and comments you will have there down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. See you next time.